the movie, you know, the movie
Would you like
we have been watching just ended. This looks like a theater, Lagos theater.
This is actually
A lot of people were confused about how this whole drama will end, but I already knew what the drama is all about. And I had said that Obasa would not leave without a fight. I talked about the second coming of Obasa. Because when Obasa did his show of force in the streets of Lagos, it was to pass a message. That message was that I'm not living without a fight. And again, I have a portion of the street with me. Lagos State, I have told you, thrives with the loyalty that they have built in the streets. And this man has a portion of what they have been thriving on. If you see the show that he did, the work that he did, you will discover that it's only somebody who is so courageous and has things backing him. You know, when they say that a child whose father sent to steal breaks the door with his leg. Boldness that is being supported from somewhere. Something is beating the drums from somewhere. You see that that kind of audacity is what Obasa marched in the streets with. I have never seen it in the history of Lagos that somebody is impeached and a few days after he does a show of weather force or I don't know. It was to send a subtle message. And within the same time, they realized that they were rash in removing this guy. Forget about the allegations against him, because if they say there were allegations against, there were misappropriation of funds, that he's indisciplined, he's whatever they leveled against him, they will have to prove it in the court where he took them. Whether or not that court case will continue is a matter for the coming days, but I doubt. With what we saw in the house this evening, you're going to hear something like we have settled out of court or that there is no case. But why would they put an Obasa and within seconds they are reconsidering? Let's remind you that Lagos State is not a place you will tell us that they are following the rule of law or whatever. There is only one person and some people that are the law, the GAC, the Governorship Advisory Council, headed by Mr. President. They decide the power play in Lagos. Let's not pretend about these things. There is no way Tinubu will leave Lagos. The structure in Lagos, the same structure for which they wanted to cause war in Nigeria. When they felt that some people are changing the status quo in Lagos, that thing they are willing to die for. This Obasa was the one helping them also to begin to alter the laws of Lagos State to accommodate their illegal plans. And somebody who has spent years with them, 10 years or more as a speaker, and more than 20 years in the leadership formations of Lagos, somebody who has once worked as a delegate for returning Baba, somebody who has been part and parcel of everything they did. You know, the Parakbo. And all of a sudden they say we will remove him. The guy will sing. The guy will stir the waters, like I said. And that is something they cannot deal with. They cannot lose that loyalty they have in the streets. They cannot also deal with credible sources pointing fingers to some things. And knowing full well that this guy has them in the bad corner, they will not jettison him just anyhow. And whether or not it's about his ambitions, we don't know. So we saw the damage control they came to do. I think somebody came on national television to say that the president was not privy to the removal of Obasa and that they did not follow constitutional means. And I asked, are you serious?
Who will investigate? You will write to the chief, to the CJ of the state, yes, to constitute that committee. The committee will investigate. The governor will be allowed to defend himself. Then the committee will make recommendations to the House, yes, that the governor should be impeached. Unlike that one, the House does not have that. What the law says is that it's two-thirds. Yes. Two-thirds of the members can remove because it's just one among equals. But the process is that the House rule, there is an House rule, how the House can reconvene. So if that is not done properly, you cannot put something on nothing. Legally. That is
so you think that validates what happened?
I think so because the House was not reconvened properly. That is his own argument why it went for. The House was not reconvened properly. So because the House was not reconvened properly, whatever was done was not deemed to be legal.
A member of the GAC came out also to tell us that after the break and the Christmas holiday, that the attention of Mr. President was called, and that was the at what point they decided to take him off. He corroborated that the president is part of the removal of Obasa.
Saw this coming the last 18 months. You must have saw it coming. But in recent times, you should also recall events of the day when the governor presented the 2025 appropriation bill. Well, the president was home on Christmas and New Year holiday. And know that first and foremost, the president is from Lagos. The president is the leader of the party, not just in Nigeria, but particularly in Lagos. And it is also in his best interest to see that Lagos continue to be pivotal in terms of political leadership, in terms of administration, and what have you. And before the president came home, this issue has been lingering. In the wisdom of members of the Governors Advisory Council, GAC, it was like, let's all call this, honorable members to, or that let us check, their exuberance, I should say. And not just once, not just twice, about 3 meetings. As a matter of fact, at a point in time, it was a marathon meeting, involving the GAC, the outside right honorable speaker of the House, the governor, to try to look at exactly what the issues were, to try to make corrections, where necessary. And what was found out was a situation where the right honorable speaker became unbending. You recall I used the word emperor earlier. He saw himself as an emperor. He saw himself as someone whose ways and means cannot be checked, correct, or admonished. So when the president got home, in the wisdom of the leadership of the GAC, the president's attention was called. And again, the president, as father and leader, called another meeting wherein he tried to make a sense out of the observations raised by elders of the party. Unfortunately, the president saw by himself a recalcitrance. And I think that is what broke the camel's back.
And all of a sudden, the deputy takes over as Miranda, and then they are now doing gra to make it look like we will not leave. We will not leave. When that drama was playing, I said these people cannot sustain this gra they are doing. All this grandstanding, they will not sustain it because we know how Lagos works. The epic center of APC Tier 3 can never be putting up the pretense they put up simply because they removed somebody they didn't think through to remove, one of their right-hand man and one of the persons who would get them in a bad corner, and they want to bring him back. But to swallow their shame, they have to stage a drama to make it look like we followed due process to do this thing, to make it look like nobody is manipulating the whole thing from behind. It is only the gullible that will be deceived. So we are constitutionally elected. We cannot leave. This thing they are doing. I told you earlier that I see all those people standing behind that man saying that they unanimously removed the speaker. They were not speaking for themselves. A lot of them have no say. They are just about their jobs and they don't want to lose their jobs. That place is like a Ashrebi group where they will agree on what to do and everybody will do it. Didn't you see them wearing uniforms to the court? And a Miranda that was singing in a different tone on Friday came on Monday and is struggling to read her resignation so-called letter.
For those who have been unfairly verified for standing on the side of fair play, kindly take note that there will always be opportunity to right any wrong. I am entranced by the dialogue of personal messages, phone calls, public show of support, and groundswell of solidarity from a broad spectrum of our society. Indeed, our nation is blessed with great men and women of honor. It is my fervent hope that the leadership of our great party will continue to provide guidance and support for the aspiration of our people.
Struggling to say how she penned down her resignation and then accepting the same person, he says, when they were putting up the scripts, I was just laughing where I was. Lagos State House cannot function without the control of Mr. President. I say it again. Lagos State cannot function without the control of Mr. P. Tinubu, because Obasanjo gave him the leeway to possess Lagos. The same thing that is happening in Rivers now when they say that they've withheld the allocation of the people. How do they expect the governance to function when two men are fighting and displaying their selfishness? They are punishing the people. Governance will no longer run, or what? The same thing they did, and Tinubu found out illicit ways to generate revenue, something that is still plaguing Lagos up till now. And our judiciary is helping to push Rivers State into the same situation. So when the drama finished, they came, and all of a sudden there is also one man planted in their midst to nominate Miranda for deputy, and the same day they swore her in as deputy. And then he's thanking her colleagues. I mean, she's thanking her colleague, and Obasa is also thanking her colleague for standing in for him. If you had listened to Obasa by the weekend, you will understand that what played out today was already in the pipeline. They had already planned it. In good spirit, he was welcoming everybody, knowing that the matter is settled for him. He was saying, I don't have any problem with anybody. We can work together. You will know that they have finished with the drama they want to play. Where is your security aid? Do you still have the full membership of your security aids? And you hear things like, I have 3 now. I'm supposed to have 3. Hear it from the horse's mouth.
God is in me.
Can you be specific, ma'am, about the status of your security details that your office represents?
Well, I have, I think 3 or 4 policemen, whereas my normal convoy, my team, 12 policemen, 4 DSS, and 2 anti-pop. Whereas I have it this morning, I don't have that.
I understand you, ma'am.
Why am I narrating all these things? Let's not be deceived when they start any of their political dramas. Everything they are doing now is positioning for 2027. And I ask again, what is the opposition doing? What is the opposition doing? Ozigbo swallowed his pride and shame and showed himself earlier in time and went to APC. Obi, what are you doing? We understand that you are not desperate to be Nigeria's president, but Nigerians have laid their hands on you. Whoever the master calls, he has no say. So the people want you, and you cannot at this point be lackadaisical about it because you feel you are not desperate to be president. We have to create reforms in our electoral system. We have to make reforms in our laws. We have to make reforms in our judiciary. We have to amend our constitution. We have to make our country run like a country that has the rule of law, discipline, leaders with character. Opposition, what are you doing? You see all that they are doing, they are sweeping you off your feet again, like they did in 2023. If you are watching all the nonsense they were doing, you think it's not going to culminate into something. When they finish, everything will come together and they will bamboozle you again. So, the drama just ended, though. There might be few continuity from tomorrow, but just know that anything they were doing to deceive Nigerians were just their own manipulative tactics. Anything they did to make it look like we will not leave, we are constitutionally, all the Gragra, Miranda and his group did, they were scripts that they were playing out. All the Gragra that they did were scripts because they have done something and they will start doing the damage control that the district where Obasa comes from, somebody has to come from there. It doesn't have to be left empty, and it's the same man you impeached that you brought back. You didn't see another qualified person from that region to replace him. So what's the summary of what happened in Lagos is that they shot themselves in the leg and they did the damage control and returned the situation to what it was. That is just what happened. Every other thing they did was to make it look like the president's hand is not in it. They wash on their head, now they put them. Nigerians, Nigeria, you have to fight for what you want. You have to fight for what you want. Systems that work, where you don't have to be going through all this drama and trauma they put Nigerians into. Where people will come and do their job and leave. Where they will not open office on your head. in their Senate in the name of committees or committees, where a governor that is leaving will not destabilize a whole state because he still wants to have a hold on it, where they will not manipulate your electoral system to suit themselves, where they cannot control the outcome of elections, and where our judiciary will have honor.